In Season 20, Apex Legends has done something incredible. It's launched the biggest season ever, but it's also included not a new map, not a new legend, and not a new weapon, but a new way to play the game that's encouraged players of old to try it back again and new players to see if they can enjoy the foray that are the Apex Legends battlegrounds. While it's added new modes, things like straight shot, as well as given a rise to player rates of different characters, which we'll talk about here, and how that's impacted the ALGS ranked meta, the split, the casual games, and also the interest in just the casual audience and the high level audience of people who've been playing Apex. It leads us to a bigger question. What does this mean for the state of Apex Legends Season 20? Where are we going? And what is there for you to look forward to as a player? And what should you be thinking about as you think about Apex and going forward, spending your time when there are so many games that are obviously right now trying to vie for it? It is an incredible time in gaming, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about it as we get into this. But first, I want to make sure you know what this video will entail. It'll have about 8 points that we go into, maybe a couple minutes each, to give you details on what's been my experience, what the community experience has. We'll have some notes to show you, and also get into what Season 20 has meant for those who are new, who want to just catch up and say, hey, what's going on? Should I play? I was talking to my barber the other day saying, should I play today, actually? And also for those saying, is this worth my time? I've been playing for a long time. Should I keep investing into it? All those things will be answered. First off, though, let's talk about community perception. The first thing with the new season is, how is the season taken? How are people enjoying the season? And, what is kind of the word on the street? Overall, I think the word on the street's been really positive, especially when you consider the fact that, yes, no new game, nothing is happening for Apex this season. The benefit of that, though, is that you can focus on the perks, which came in as the brand new kind of highlight for what we were adding in this game. It's new abilities for each legend, a new way to upgrade them as the game goes on. And essentially it means that every new experience that you're able to have has been, quadrupled for each legend, because you could play one of any different perks that are available for that character. I've really liked this, and I think a lot of people have responded well to this. And ultimately, even though I barely scratched the surface in about 20 hours of this season played so far, and footage being recorded, I would say that this is probably one of the most significant games I've seen changes I've seen a game of this magnitude make after 5 years of existing. It's really bold, and it honestly, I think, has brought a lot of interest just for people to even say, hey, how's this gonna work out? Like, what is gonna happen? You know what I mean? In terms of, is this really going to be effective? And I think it truly has. We've seen rises in play rates of 14 of the 25 characters, meaning more than half of the characters have actually increased in play. And I think there's a lot of unexpected characters that have somehow become more relevant because of this. So not only have you spread out the parity of each legend, making them more effective across the board and more viable to different play styles. So for beginners, casuals, this is a good thing. If you like to be more defensive, if you like to be more tactical, maybe the legend that you really liked and were inclined to play when you first jumped into Apex wasn't meta. Well, I think those chances are higher that they will be now, especially because of it. And it leads me into kind of talking about that as another topic point. Going into this, we've seen characters, especially like Seer, actually jump up an incredible amount. Now, Seer was one of the lowest play rate characters in the entirety of Apex Legends. You can even see through this graph. Just a month ago, before this started, he had a 0.6% play rate. In terms of the choice of people playing Seer, 0.6% of the time people are picking Seer over these other legends. Now we're going up into 7-8%. This is an incredible feat for a character, but let me tell you what, if you didn't catch it already, if you don't know the news, I lied to you as to why that happened. Yes, it has nothing to do with the actual perks. Although the perks were nice for Seer, it has to do with a whole new thing that they're doing, which are the challenges. And this is another point that I want to bring up. How have these challenges impacted Apex Legends? Well, they kind of brought up this idea that if you continue to go ahead and play Apex, there's a chance you may not have all the characters if you're coming back after a while. So a way we're going to do this to give you these characters is to unlock them by doing a few challenges for that legend. So when you logged in and you saw not only Season 20 with all the changes, you probably also saw a ton of Seers. This was because the Seers Seer was the character that you could unlock first, and everyone was trying to complete these challenges to get Seer, to earn Seer, and this will continue to happen over the course of Apex Legends Season 20. Funny enough, Rampart is the next legend that this will be happening for. So for those who are, I don't know, a little bit worried about playing against Ramparts or haven't played Rampart much, who is traditionally one of the lower picked characters, this is going to be your opportunity to do so, especially to earn the character if you have not done it. And so that is like a real cool element of, to me, something that I wouldn't expect from Apex. And the beauty of it is that I would never play Seer as much as I had played this character, even though the character was buffed many times. It's just a great way for the audience to actually give the developers data on whether a legend is actually valuable or not. I'll give you a quick story as to why this is really, really important. Seer is an example of a character that obviously is super strong when people are considering how strong he is. Meaning, you know, when you look at a character's ability and kit and you all recognize there's value there, and everyone then starts to play that character actually manifests that value in a very specific, impactful way. And if people stop playing that character and they start looking at other characters, those other characters kind of take the shine, and people don't necessarily have a reason to go ahead and try to manifest Seer's value in a meta where other characters are more largely effective. This isn't saying that Seer isn't good or is good. What it's really saying is that sometimes when you look at a character and you're forced to look at a character, you actually get better information. And it's the same thing with a gun that doesn't get played very often because everyone says it's bad. That might be kind of true, but you don't have enough data oftentimes if people always don't play the gun. Like, you know, Mozambique Day, when everyone was playing Mozambiques, you actually had an opportunity to see the value of what that weapon looks like with hammer points in a lot more situations than you would ever use it, because you're not going to carry it around. You're not going to get the hammer points and carry those or try to find hammer points when you could pick up pretty much any other weapon that would be better. You're never going to get the chance. But if you start out in straight shot with a purple Mozambique a lot, you start to see, like, you know, this weapon actually hits when it's being used. Are we underestimating this weapon because of the difficulty it takes to get there? Are we underestimating its potential value because it's not early value, or it's kind of almost got a bad, kind of history to it? That is what I think is going to be interesting about these challenges. Seer, Rampart, and with these underpicked legends who just never really get their shine, despite how many times they're either buffed, they're constantly ignored. This will be a good opportunity to really test the efficacy of these legends and what they really bring to the table. If people are forced to give them a chance to complete these rewards, which seem totally random and not necessary to complete, but a lot of players feel the need to complete these rewards, then ultimately I think this is one of those things that's going to be better and better, you know, for the game as we continue to dive into characters that may not have gotten their shine. It's clearly worked in terms of percentage picked, so maybe that will work in terms of a few other things as well. That I'm very excited about. Okay, and another just example of that too, before we jump into the Legends buffs and some of the weapons, I wanted to just say there's a few other games I've worked on in Smite and in Paladins. There are characters who are getting very, very little play rates. They're not getting any high play rates at all, kind of like Seer, and yet they're having 60-70% win percentages. And at very certain levels of high elo or specific character circumstances, they're extremely winning, and it's just not common knowledge. This is happening across many, many video games. I guarantee it's happening in your favorite competitive video game for a certain gun or a certain character. It's just the way that it works. And sometimes, you know, it's about getting that information out to the public before you really see it for the first time. Remember, Seer was actually super busted before he became meta. And it just was a matter of public perception of how busted he was, gaining traction across everybody. Okay, so I've hopefully hit that point over the head 1,000 times with the mallet. Thank you, but I wanted to be accurate with that and thorough. The other thing, let's talk about it. Legend buffs. Obviously, we wanted to ask the question, what does it mean when you are playing these legends in-game? Who is going to be the legend with all these crazy nerfs to get picked up and be valuable now, and who are the legends that are kind of on the wayside, like going to still maybe be less valuable or irrelevant? Well, I think a few that I can mention off the top of my hand have jumped up in the ranks. Valkyrie seems to be back. The evac towers, some of the nerfs had killed Valkyrie at one point. She seems to be well back into the meta in casual ranked and probably the ALGS. Her skyward dive, her missiles, her mobility. I think a lot of the things that people are looking at from the perks helped her. But here's the bigger thing that is kind of goes to the first part I was saying. Because Valkyrie had been nerfed, no one had been really playing Valkyrie, but a change that impacted Valkyrie quite a bit had gone unnoticed, which maybe could have brought her back sooner. And that is that the charge rifle was changed. Guys, the charge rifle used to be a guaranteed knock to Valkyrie. It was a hit scan weapon that could, over any part of the map, impact that character and any other team flying, getting 50 to probably 100 damage almost guaranteed. And here's the big element of that I want to talk about. The fact is, Valkyrie just truly was a sitting duck in the air most of the time. And, you know, it really has to be stated that this was a huge deal for her. Once she got nerfed, once things happened, ultimately that charge rifle got changed to be a projectile. No longer a hit scan, much harder to hit, much harder to use, you all know. And Valkyrie still was not played because evac towers were in there. But now that Valkyrie is being played and these buffs have happened, people are realizing the things that made Valkyrie so hard to play against are no longer a thing anymore. And now she's coming back, she's relevant, she's capable. And to me, that is where we're going to see a lot of these legends show up. Caustic as well. Big buff. A lot of people are playing Caustic again. Bangalore is still good. Bloodhound, Gibby. I think these are characters you're going to start seeing. You've been seeing a few of them before. Gibby, I think, may come in some defensive legends in terms of ranked and in terms of the ALGS. Who's out? Maybe Catalyst. I'm not sure if we're going to see the same Catalyst effectiveness. Again, you might still see the value that Catalyst brings, but right now, mentality about the character seems to be on the way down. Could this be the end of it? Will we be seeing a lot of gas, a lot of smoke, and a lot of scans? I have a feeling we will. Will Seer jump back into people's eyes in the meta? I don't think so. I still think Blood is so much better, and I think Seer's needs something a little bit on his base. I think maybe he should get some ult distance, throwing distance on his ultimate just at base, but or change that perk in some way. I think that could maybe shift it. But overall, those are legends in and out. Let me know what you guys think as well. I think we may also see some Crypto, who has got a significantly better EMP, though it's not as good as it would have been. All right, the other thing I want to talk about that you've been seeing some gameplay of on the screen, and before I show you all of the good stuff here, but there's some good stuff, is Straight Shot. Yes, Straight Shot. It is seriously like one of the best modes that I've ever seen a game come out with. It is a test of being able to keep you in rhythm playing this game and queuing back up. I've been playing this on live, on TikTok live actually, and on Twitch, both Rain Day on Twitch or Rain Day Gaming on TikTok. And I see people come in and go, what are you playing? What is this? I need to know, what is this mode? Like, is this 3 strikes? Is this, people are curious because I'm in action, I'm constantly with guns, and we're just getting to play in game. And that is what the benefit of this is. It was how much do people crave these final fights, these moments that count? Well, they crave it a lot. And I noticed that my playtime has been very heavily focused on Straight Shot. Not just for me as an entertainer, as someone who is creating content and wants my stream to be interesting with moments of high stakes, but just in general because of the fact that it's fun and it doesn't stop. And I don't have to go back to lobby. I could see this being added to more modes, although I'm always worried about things, you know, just coming like to the point where we're just, you know, do we have any sense of ourselves anymore? Like, can we wait? Can we be patient? Can we have downtime? I don't know. I think that's why I've been more excited about making these longer videos as well, because I want you all to realize that sometimes, you know, life is, it is simply just bigger than doing things so fast. And, yeah, I think that's an important lesson to talk about. So, however, I think the state of this as an experiment has gone over extremely well for Apex, and I think it's one of those things that is here to stay, and I cannot wait to continue to see Straight Shot. I hope this is an absolute permanent mode. I never want this to leave. If this leaves and becomes like an LTM, I'm going to be very sad. I'm going to be very sad. I think this should definitely stay. Let's talk about weapons. I think this is another big conversation. Maybe this is the 5th point I've made. And there are maybe 2 others that I want to get into. Weapons have been very fun. Naming our top weapons right now, though, in the season, and I've seen people have conversation about this. Imperial House talked about this. My impressions were the Prowler is back. The Prowler's amazing. The Volt is still good. It hasn't been really touched. The R99, the car got nerfed. The Volt, solid. The Hemlock, delicious. The Flatline, very, very good as well. I think Spitfire's got something. It's kind of an honorable mention. And the Havoc has got some haters. It's got some lovers. I know his Watson hates the Havoc without that turbocharger. I know Hal has said the Havoc's okay. I lean against the Havoc, though. The damage per bullet is amazing. But it just takes so long that a lot of the damage is coming up way faster in this meta. And also, you're seeing the return of the G7. The 3030 and the G7 are balanced. I think the G7 might even take the cake over the 3030 right now. So those are the weapons that you absolutely want to be playing in Season 20. I'll do a more extensive list on that later on. I think it's too early for true tier lists, but I do think that in terms of weapons, that's where you're at. Also, some of the rain day like hot fires, Sentinel, I think the PK and the Mozam with hammers, like it actually bangs. And I really like, for a shotgun, its range. I like its range and I like its surprise. TTK, this is a kind of a time where TTK is a little bit lower for a lot of different reasons, and because of shields, because of shield swapping, there's just a lot of different reasons why shields and things like that are a little bit better to burst through with those Mozams. Okay, number 6, cheaters. Cheaters have kind of come up on Twitter as a, as kind of a big deal. Now, I'm not a major, cheaters kind of guy. I've done cheaters videos before in Apex when it was real, but a lot of the cheaters end up happening in high level ranked, and I don't end up grinding ranked as much as possible. But you could even go to creators like Lulu Lovely, who we've seen talk about these even just 2 days ago on the 19th, tweeted out, please, please, please don't let this amazing season be destroyed by cheaters. I really want to keep enjoying it. And you're going to see a lot of responses there. This was kind of echoed across the community over the course of the last 2 days, that basically cheaters are having an issue. And EA, with the anti-cheat and concepts around it, has been doing the best that they can to stop cheaters. But I kind of wanted to have this conversation with you guys. Do you actually think cheaters are going away? Like, this is the world we live in. People will cheat. People will cheat all the time, not in video games, but in life, in sports. Like, as an athlete growing up, like playing at a high level, playing even in D1 college, you think there's some type of honor in not cheating? I do, but that's why when people cheated me or when people fouled me, I was personally offended. I couldn't believe they were actually not playing the game when I got the better of them in the game with the rules, and they tried any way to be better or have some type of success, or at least not lose. That's the world that we live in, unfortunately. It doesn't mean that I think this is going to be something that we should push to the side. But as a person, how much can I do about it? How much can you guys do about it? You can report, you can expose, you can do as much as you can, but I wouldn't take this on your shoulders as an issue. I think any game that you're going to see in this online world, if it's free to play, is going to have cheaters. Here's the reason why: cheaters will always be able to make free accounts unless they're hardware banned. And if they're hardware banned, obviously that is more difficult. But when you are tracking things like making new accounts and you're making, you ban this name, someone can make that easy account because it's a free to play game. All they need is a new email address, a new EA account, new Steam account, whatever it is, and they can go ahead and do it. The issue with that is that, a lot of games have been free to play, and it's kind of given a rise to, there's really no negative to doing it. However, if these games start becoming, $30 paid, and I don't think this is Apex's future, but in the future, when you consider it, if someone has to spend $30 every time they want to cheat and they get banned, the incentive is going to be so much less. And that's usually how a lot of games have kind of stopped cheaters en masse from taking over. It's just charging a price point. Every ban means $60 for you. You're not going to keep, throwing $60 down the drain. So eventually you either stop or move on to another game. And that's just one of the things that opening the doors up means that there are some issues. I do want to hear your thoughts, though. I kind of really don't know where to go with that. The way I do it is, if a cheater ruins your game, I feel bad for them. I know it sucks for you. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't feel like I have much control over it personally. And I'd rather not just yell into the wind. I think they know it. I think we all know it sucks. Sorry if it's happened to you. All right. Number 7, before I kind of get into my final conversation, which is community reaction and what the devs are kind of saying and doing, which I really want to highlight. Um, I think number 7 is that for this season, this has been one of the seasons that people are actually learning. I think people are learning again for some reason. And, when you consider like what we were talking about here with some of these pick rates, and you look at these legends that are being played, like I mentioned, 14 of these legends here are actually going up in terms of play rate. And that's unusual to see Crypto and Vantage and Caustic and Watson and Rampart. And, these legends, Mirage, look at this. I mean, Mirage's play rate skyrocketing, obviously, from some of the similar places that he's been. And percentage-wise, obviously, he's been a pretty stable 2%, but skyrocketing up to even that 3.5 for a character that hasn't changed much over the course of the years. This is the highest he's been, since season 16. That is a pretty big deal. And so, when is season 16? That was like a year ago. So, legends are having the return of their moments, and I think for the first time, you're seeing, because of that, more information be more valuable. People want to know, well, how do I play Mirage? How do I play Vantage? What's going on with Seer? I haven't played Seer in so long, but now I'm playing him because of the challenge, and I kind of want to know what's the thing with Seer? What he's about? This is, for me, been one of the cool things of the ecosystem, not just as a content creator, but Twitch streamers, everyone engaging. Like, I want tips, I want tricks again, I want info, and that is an exciting place to be. So for Apex in general, I think you want to be in this space. And I think anyone who's considered at this point kind of coming back to the game, checking the game out. I was talking to people, you got to check this out. People are kind of open to it. But then when you have these new players coming in again, how do you teach them? What do they learn? How do they get caught up to speed? There was no incentive to make a beginner video up until this season for the last few seasons, to be fair. And now I have a beginner video in the works. So if you are a beginner, if you're someone new, like this video. Even if you're not, like the video. It helps it get out to the algorithm. You don't have to subscribe. That's just all you need is a like, and you'll start getting more videos that help you to know about what's happening. And to me, that's the best place a game can be. Finally, in the ALGS ranked as well, I just kind of want to mention that I think from a rank perspective and ALGS perspective, we're still figuring out some of the lineups that are going to be showing up here. I think Bangalore and Caustic and Valkyrie or Bloodhound are going to be a really strong mix. I think we're still going to see some people try to implement with the Conduit. And of course, you're going to see people who are looking to say, how can we still, take advantage of Fuse or Mad Maggie or Horizon, characters that are kind of on the outskirts. A character I think might start to come into, not in this early iteration of the ALGS and ranked, but maybe in the future, is Watson. She had a bug, and now it's fixed. And this leads me to my very final point, which I think we need to talk about, which is how good Respawn has been at their communication so far this season. Once the season started, and sometimes in other seasons, we felt that Respawn has actually had a lot of things to say and not necessarily said it. And, when a lot going on, maybe a lot you can't talk about, that could be why. I mean, for us, looking at the perk system, for them, that's probably been at least 8 months in the works. So for all the things that we're complaining about that they know will be irrelevant because the perks are coming, they might have had to keep silent or steer the conversation another way. Now that it's all out into the open, though, we know exactly what the game is, and they've made 3 different tweaks and fast patches in Apex in the first week, which has been really, really nice to see. There were some complaints about how strong the wingman was, and they changed the ammo reserves on that. They made the boosted loader get removed from it. The optics can no longer be removed, so you can't have longer optics for that. And the optic being locked to a one-time HCOG means you can't use a digital threat on it. You have the ability now to see this weapon get more balance, and that to me is huge, and that's based on feedback. Then you saw people excited about Ash's buffs, really happy about what that greedy snare could do, but then realizing, you know what? it ain't really doing that much. And then you see the change. Ash's greedy snare duration reduced from 24 seconds to 15 seconds. Ash's arc snare cooldown reduced from 20 seconds to from 25 seconds. Reduction of Thunderdome crowd level in in-game. What does this mean? It means that the greedy snare duration lasted too long. There was no reason for it to last this long. 15 seconds was already long enough. They probably had data that people were barely getting tethered for longer than probably 8 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. It's better to have that go down on cooldown faster than just to stay there forever. Also, the arc snare has a 5-second less cooldown, which means you're actually buffing the double arc snares. So instead of having an arc snare every 25 seconds, you can have 2 arc snares in 40 seconds, whereas it would have been 2 arc snares in 50 seconds total, 25 seconds each. So this is meaning that Ash is now going to have more efficacy. Not what we wanted for Ash, not what we needed, but things like that, if they keep happening, this is very exciting. Just 39 minutes ago from making this video, they put out a patch that actually fixed Watson's Falling Stars upgrade inconsistently activating. So you should be able to get those arc stars for your ultimate when you pick up that perk. All of these things mean to me that Apex Legends is listening. They're here and they believe in the future of this game and this mode more so than maybe we've seen in a few months. And this is a beautiful, beautiful thing for fans of Apex Legends. Let me know what you appreciate about this. Let me know what you guys think about Season 20. Really, I want to continue the conversation in the comments section below. Leave a like, and as always, never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see you all next time.